What's going on, YouTube family? How we doing, man? How was everyone during the holidays and stuff? I hope everything was good. I hope New Year's Eve was amazing. As you can see, I changed sceneries just a little bit. Instead of sitting in my office, I decided that I would sit here, my living room, showcase a little bit of my family behind me, which was my main support. As you can tell by a piece of the title here, putting the armor down, that was one thing that I wanted to touch basis about, especially dealing in the realm of PTSD and as well as any other traumatic experiences that happened in your life. Um, so, especially for myself, for most of my life, I thought strength meant being ready for the amount of impact that you would take. Growing up as a child in the system and not having any family, no mother, no father around me, stuck into the system itself, navigating through foster care systems. you know, I developed, that sense of always being alert, always being capable, and being able to put that responsibility on my shoulders. Always the one who could handle all of it. I didn't really call it armor back then, though. I just thought that's who I was or who I had to be. My main goal in life was to go back home. That was the only thing I wanted, and that's something that I would, stay up late at night every single night, and that was the only, direction that I had in my mind was to just go home, or to at least make a home of what I thought it should be. And so again, I put that responsibility on my shoulders. So a lot of where that armor came from is, when you grow up in survival mode, that armor isn't something you choose. It just shows up as, staying sharp, staying guarded, being the strong one so nothing falls apart. Come on, get up. This is my service dog, as you saw in my other title. This is Leo. Come on, bud. Come join us, buddy. Come hang out for a little bit. This is Leo. He's literally by my side 24/7. Oh, pretty boy. So honestly, I met him 3 years ago. He just like me, growing up in the system. I was lost. I felt abandoned. Quite frankly, I was abandoned. You know what I mean? I always wondered why my mom and dad never came back for me. And when I met, my young pup 3 years ago, he just turned 4, actually, the day after Christmas. That's exactly how I met him. I was working and I saw him almost get hit by a car, so I pulled over and he jumped into my vehicle. I called the tags on his collar, and that was the fourth home that they tried to rehome him as, and he kept escaping from every house trying to go back home. And when I took him that day, he has legitimately been by my side every single day, 24/7. So to also make it easier, especially for myself and what I'm diagnosed with and what I go through on a daily basis, I spoke with my VA doctor as well as my VA therapist. We went through the process of everything and getting him trained to become a service animal. So he is a legitimate service animal for me. Come on, bud. But again, I always had that be that strong one, so nothing fell apart. I took that responsibility, that burden, and put it on my shoulders. And for a long time, that armor saved me. And helped me rebuild time and time and time again. At least 3 times that I can count, um, where I have legitimately had to rebuild my entire life, where I've lost, my houses, jobs, everything. I've lost everything, and I had to restart from scratch 3 separate times, 3 separate occasions in my lifetime. This being the last time. Um, so having that armor, it helped me survive situations that I never should have had to survive. But there comes a cost to everything in life, and so when that armor starts to cost you, I started to realize something, that I wasn't in danger anymore. Yet I was still living like I was. I was still always alert. I always was overthinking things. I was always trying to overwhelm you know, people when they would try to overwhelm me, or when they would, come to me with things, or such as that nature. Even in relationships, um, I was still living like I was in that survival mode, even though I wasn't in danger anymore. I wasn't. It was just a mindset that my mind was stuck in. And so I was always braced, even during some of the calmest moments. Even with the people that I trusted. I mean, even in the calmest moments, I would always be on alert, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the chaos to begin, waiting for something to pop off, waiting for an argument to happen, waiting for some sort of, violence to go on, or anything like that. I was constantly bracing myself, and my nervous system was just on constant high alert. And that constant readiness, it started costing me, my mental peace, my clarity, my focus, rest. I had a lot of trouble sleeping, where I would have to, take numerous sleep aids, Tylenol PM and everything like that. And even then, I would still never get a full night's sleep. Joy, I had a very hard time finding joy in even the smallest of things. And also the ability to just be present in life. I can remember times, even with my daughter who's behind me on the wall, being at zoos and museums, and we'd be visiting all of these things, and I couldn't be present. My mind and my nervous system was on constant high alert, always scanning and ready to be prepared for whatever threat came my way. But a big shift did start to kind of happen. And it didn't start, my healing didn't start to happen when I became weaker. That's not when healing starts to begin, you know what I mean? It starts to happen when I learned discernment, how to discern situations, and discern certain people to be around and to not be around. And so I didn't throw my armor away. I just set it down. What I mean by my armor down and put it on the side of me, which is a representation here, that armor is still there. It still exists. It's just not on me every single day anymore. Because real strength doesn't come from wearing this type of armor every single day. Real strength is knowing and being able to discern when you need it on and when you don't. Now, with that comes a lot of fear. A lot of people, especially myself, I was terrified. I was terrified that if I learned how to rest, that everything will fall apart. Not being so hyper vigilant, not being so responsive or reactive, or always trying to, I guess, control the situation and guide it down the right direction. That comes with a lot of fear, because now you have to reteach yourself that, if you stop pushing back on all that, you may lose a lot of that momentum, that you'll soften, that you'll lose control. I believed all of that too. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't even know how to articulate it. For 3 decades, I was always in that mode. I was always in that hyper vigilant mode. What I had to learn was something important, that control isn't tension. That control is awareness. It's a choice, and it's also a presence. For me, putting the armor down didn't mean giving up the discipline that was instilled inside of me. It meant that I was allowed moments of peace without scanning for what might go wrong next. It meant realizing that, I could build a life without destroying myself in the process. And that changed everything. I didn't have to constantly, that it was okay to take steps back every now and again, to learn to be okay with not always having to be in control of everything. So if you're watching this and you feel tired, even though nothing is technically wrong, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been strong for a very long time. I used to joke and I used to say that I wear this badge of honor with pride, and I do. I absolutely do, because this badge of honor walks side by side with me. And at any given point, I can absolutely put all of this armor back on me. But also being discerning and understanding that it's okay that I can rest. And it's okay for you to rest now. So putting down that armor doesn't mean that you're unprotected. It means you're finally safe enough to be able to breathe. And rest isn't the end of growth. It's where sustainable growth begins. This is Spill the Tea. Real conversations, real healing, and no performance. And just so you know, like I said to you in the previous videos, I keep notes with me to do these videos because my mind goes on massive tangents. My mind is constantly on high alert still. And it's still a process of me learning to slowly adapt to rest. So I'm going through the process as much as I'm talking about it. I'm not only practice when I'm preaching, but I'm also trying to be that beacon of light. So I keep these notes with me when I do these videos, because again, my mind, it never stops. And staying present here in this moment, making this video, trying to build a community, it matters more to me than trying to pretend to be perfect. There is no perfection. Nobody or nothing is ever going to be perfect. And so I showcase those skills while being present in the moment. If you wouldn't mind engaging, please drop a comment. Let me know, what armor have you been carrying around? Have you had to have been, the mother or the father in your entire family dynamic? Have you had to have been, the strong one, the one that held everything together? Have you had to be someone similar like me, where I had no one and I had to navigate life alone? And so not only did I put this metaphorical armor on me, but I also wore it as well too, and showcased it to the world, instead of to myself. You don't have to share everything if you don't want to. Just enough to know that you're here. Even if it's a simple, I resonate with this message. If you would like to understand more of why my armor came from and how it came to, and how I learned to set it down, my book, A Child Called Home, goes deeper into that journey. Volume 1 will be on the shelves within the next couple of weeks. And it goes into my entire childhood and progresses through the entire thing of what I've learned, what I've had to overcome, and how I've also learned how to put that armor down. So volume 1 will be hitting the shelves, I believe, in two weeks, and I'll have a copy of it here for you guys to see as well too. But we can build this together, one honest conversation at a time. All it takes is just someone having enough courage to come forth and putting themselves out there and showcasing that it's okay to be vulnerable in order to not be vulnerable about things. To show everyone that we're all here together. We are all united. Thank you. I hope you guys have a great day. Please like, share, comment. If you or anyone you know that is going through a hard time, that just feels like they're alone, show them these videos. Let them know that they're not alone. I've been through a lot in my life, and I can resonate with a lot of different people. Thank you.